Callie Crossley. It's great to see you.
Great to see you. Great to see you, Margery.
Yeah, thank you very much, Callie, for coming. People may know it's been a very difficult week here at GBH. We've lost some of our co-workers, and the TV shows have been suspended here. Jim's old show, Greater Boston, and Basic Black, which has been around for a long time, and you've been the host of that for quite some time. So tell people about Basic Black in case they didn't see it.
Okay, so I stepped away from the hosting last October. I had been in the seat for a while when the show was going live. We did the show live prior to COVID, sending us back inside and to taping. The history is that it really grew from the community saying there are just voices and perspectives that are not on the air in these stories. So even if you had a story, I'm just picking, we just heard one about the MBTA, let's say, and you would listen to the various outlets that would tell you what was going on. There was often lacking another perspective from some communities, and I say communities of color because it wasn't just black, it was called Basic Black, but we had folks from the Asian community, Asian American community, folks from the Latinx American community. So it was just to have a range of folks who had some commonalities in how they fit in America as we know it, and talk about those issues from their perspectives. And it was always eye-opening for people, just to get the kinds of experts that we have in these fields that people would never know about because they've only seen the same people over and over again. So there is that. And we did a variety of topics, everything from cultural stories like Prince to hard issues about redlining, breast cancer, higher rates in black women, maternal. We've talked about here about black maternal health, and on and on and on. And the executive producer of that was Dolores Edwards, and most recently,
great Dolores Edwards.
Yes.
And so
big loss.
So this is and the show. 56 years has
56 years.
Won all kinds of awards.
Longest of its kind in America, correct?
That is correct. Has won all kinds of awards, and is well known across the country, actually. So it's not something that is just only a local program. It's well known.
Well, the
across
thing
the
that
country.
to me was a fascinating thing about it was people of color talking about issues, and sometimes they were issues that might have been unique to people of color.
That's correct.
So instead of hearing me talk about something that wasn't going to impact me, I always thought I wanted to hear, for example, what Basic Black was going to say about flooding gay, what Basic Black was going to say about affirmative action, because it's a unique and different perspective.
And I think what a lot of people didn't understand is that there was a very healthy white audience, if you're going to split it like that.
We're looking at two of them, by the way.
Well, because you don't get that perspective.
Exactly. I've had all kinds of situations. There was a guy driving a truck downtown, this was years ago, and he literally stopped in the middle of the street and yelled at me, "I don't think I ever agree with you, but I like the show." I said, okay. So you wanted to have, and we, by the way, have people from across the political spectrum of ideological, across the ideological spectrum. So there were lots of folks who paid attention and who listened. They often, sometimes made news and, all of that. And it was a great experience for me when I hosted the show. It was some fun times in the green room with people,
I just want to say, I know I speak for Margery, to Dolores, who you mentioned, to you, to the hundreds of guests, to the host. I mean, this was a world-changing kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it
That's
changed our community in huge ways and informed our community, and you deserve congratulations. I note that you mentioned Prince first, because, of course, she went to Paisley Park, and we heard that whole deal.
That is true.
That is true, exactly. But seriously, congratulations to you all and your colleagues for an incredible half-century, actually.
Yeah, thanks.
Talking to Callie Crossley.
So I guess it's okay, I don't know, we'll ask you, if celebrities are not influencing the polls. I mean, everybody got all worked up when Taylor Swift got all these people to vote, and she did get them to vote, but there are exceptions. I guess the Obamas influenced some people, but I don't know, is this a good thing?
You surprised by that?
That the Obamas do?
No, not that. Are you surprised
but
other celebrities don't matter to people when they're
know.
voting?
I would think Taylor Swift is a huge star. Somebody that said Taylor Swift or a Beyonce or a Bruce Springsteen, somebody that's huge. I don't know. I would think that they might influence some people. Apparently, they don't really.
Well, yeah, this new poll was very interesting. That people say no, they don't. It doesn't matter who it is, except for the possibility of the Obamas. Now, what I thought was interesting is that we who follow this very closely know that there was a group of people who were hysterical that Taylor Swift would persuade people and were saying all kinds of nasty things about the possibility that she would. And I think that stemmed from her several times going to her base of bazillions of people and saying, you have to sign up to vote.
Yeah.
Now, at that point,
she hasn't even endorsed Biden this time.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. She just said you have to vote. And, she has a young audience. Yeah. And as we know, they haven't been often right at the ballot box. And so she said, this is what you have to do. So a lot of people signed up and registered to vote. I applaud her for that. So I don't know why that's negative. But other than that, beyond that, even if she got people to the polls, according to this survey, they weren't necessarily persuaded or would be persuaded by anything she'd say about who she might support.
The three of us, the two of you ridiculed me for about 2.5 years.
Oh,
we did?
For my prediction that the next Democratic nominee for president in 2024 would be Michelle Obama. I assume it's time to admit I was wrong.
No.
Is that?
No, because
not
it's
yet.
not going to be.
Maybe not yet.
No,
It's not gonna be. She's not going to be the
Why would she, in a million years, put herself through
Well,
this?
as I've said to both of you 1,000 times, we all saw Barack Obama, Senator Obama, on Tim Russert saying about a month before he declared for the presidency, I have no interest in running for the presidency. She cares about her country. She's wildly popular. She's incredibly strong. That's why.
Speaking of superficial media, did you see the pictures of him at the Kenya State dinner? He is totally gray now.
Yes.
He's totally gray.
Yeah.
And
he left early, too. Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
He did a quick exit from the thing.
But, it's very interesting. Presidents age tremendously in office.
Yeah.
With one exception.
Yeah, Donald Trump, because he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
How stressful is that?
Yeah. I thought that was interesting. I mean, George Bush aged so much.
Yeah.
Barack Obama aged so much. They all aged so much, but not Trump.
If you're calculating the age based on the hair, there's a lot of conversation about whether that hair is whatever. So,
what's the conversation?
You know that he said he always pulls it because he says people insist that it's fake and it's not fake. So he always pulls it to say, "See, it's coming out of my head."
Okay,
but
not the color though.
I would assume there is color.
What are you saying? Joe Biden has hair plugs too.
You talking about Trump?
Yeah.
Trump.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that hair. It's getting.
So what I'm saying is, if you calculate how someone has aged by their hair, okay, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about somebody's speculation about Obama's hair.
No. Obviously, Obama's letting his go gray. He doesn't.
Yeah.
Callie Crossley, we were talking about the survey in terms of the influence.
I'm not letting mine go gray.
Or we know that, Margery. Or I have not. Oh, yes, I did. Okay. What are we talking? Oh, the impact or non-impact of celebrities.
Oh, my God.
I found another survey to be really heartening.
Yes.
Because Margery and I fight almost every day about the influence of Fox News, and she has proven to be right. When you look at all the polling it's done. However,
this is interesting.
There was a survey of news anchors on cable, on morning TV, on nighttime TV, and I think the lowest rated person was Sean Hannity.
I was surprised by that.
Really,
loved
gives
it.
me a little faith. But tell us a little bit about the survey.
So it's really a who do you trust? As you know, there's been a whole lot of discussion about lack of trust in news outlets, period, certainly traditional ones. So this is a slight focus on who do you trust of the news anchors. And they looked across cable, they looked across network news, traditional network. They even have a category called outside, the people who left network news or cable and are now doing their own independent thing, which is interesting because Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo are 44 and 43% respectively, and they were running when they were at CNN. Their shows were back to back. But if in that same, they're called in the category called the outsiders. Megyn Kelly is at 40%, And Tucker Carlson is at 38%.
That's hardening. That's
tied with
hard.
Sean
Forgot about
Hannity.
him,
Yeah, so that's pretty
He's on
interesting.
Russian TV now, his show.
Yeah.
Whereas the most trusted on network is Lester Holt.
I know. Well, he's great.
Yeah,
he's always
it's
been
really,
great.
It's been interesting.
Yeah, and I was surprised. I was surprised that it was as high as it is. I mean, 65 Lester Holt, 63% David Muir, and Norah O'Donnell 53, not as much. But that shows.
And I'm going to argue that has to do with being a woman too.
I think so.
I'm going to argue.
I think so.
Because if you have, certain traditional ideas about, who you want to present it, that may factor into it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I was right. When we were in New Hampshire, we go to New Hampshire every 4 years for primary season. And you know the story. 4 years ago, I was on an elevator alone with Lester Holt, the Radisson Hotel downtown. I literally thought by the time he got to his floor that he thought I was going to kidnap him. It was one of, I'm looking at his face, and he's trying to be friendly, but it's clear to him that there's something wrong with me because I am a huge, huge fan. And it was really heartening because allegedly nobody watches broadcast news.
Yes,
at
that's
least
right. That's what I took away.
He's a broadcast news kind of guy,
Yeah.
so it really is. And
Did
he also
you follow Peter Jennings into the bathroom?
I did follow Peter Jennings before he died, obviously, into the men's room because I didn't know that. I did. I was a big fan of his.
Okay.
His too. And okay yourself, exactly. That's exactly. But isn't this heartening? Don't you think?
Yes,
it is heartening.
For the morning news stars, what I think is fascinating is Al Roker is 64 and Robin Roberts is 64. Gayle King is the lowest at 53. And there's a bunch of other people in between, Savannah Guthrie and Michael Strahan. So, people are very thoughtful about their choices, I think. That's what it represents.
And people are very attached to their hosts.
Yeah, I am.
I mean, I am too.
Yeah.
There are certain people I really like and certain
Anderson
people I
Cooper,
just can't.
we both are
I like
huge.
Anderson
I know.
Cooper, yeah.
And, when it comes to weather, I like Dave Epstein, obviously, on our air, but did Cindy tell me? I mean, if Cindy didn't tell me, I
understand.
I can't
that.
go
no, there are
on.
a lot of people. No, by the way, people really are attached to
Yeah,
their...
you are. Yeah.
Cindy Fitzgibbons at Channel 5.
Yeah. And it's funny when you think about when there were only three networks, ABC, CBS, and NBC, which anchor you chose at night. Who'd you choose? Did you read Peter Jennings?
Well, I ended up working at ABC for a long time, so that was sort of part of the parcel.
But I really liked him.
Yeah, no, he was interesting.
Never went to college.
I
was about to say Peter Jennings. So he really thought that the job was not only to do what he had to do and, of course, be trustworthy in delivering it, but it was a huge, educational situation for him every time he interviewed people. He was so into absorbing all of that knowledge that he felt he lost getting because he didn't go to college.
Yeah, well, I thought he was an excellent newsman. Died young.
Yeah.
Died cancer, I think, right?
Yes,
yeah, he died young.
This is unintentional, but I just realized that we didn't intend for almost everything we're talking about today to be surveys. But there was a survey out of it. Is it North Dakota?
Yes.
The 40% of the residents of North Dakota actually support the dog murderer, Kristi Noem.
Yeah.
So is that a high number or is that a low number?
Well, they pointed out that 58% said it was not justified, but I think 40% is pretty high to me.
Yeah, killing a dog.
Yeah.
I think it probably is.
Remember some guy called us up the day we were talking about this and said in rural places people are shooting their dogs all the time. I hope that's not true.
Wait, he called from Oklahoma or one of those states.
He did.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Well, I thought the fact that it was so high indicated that, she definitely did not expect the blowback because she felt she knew her constituency. And so in revealing this, it didn't bother her. And by the way, just in case people forgot, it came from her memoir, No Going Back, The Truth on What's Wrong with Politics and How We Move America Forward.
Yeah, and she said she hated the dog.
Right.
And she dragged it back to a pit, and then she shot it.
That probably shouldn't have been in there.
Yeah, I don't know why she thought anybody think that was a good idea.
No, but you know what the best part of that whole story was? I know we discussed this a few weeks ago.
She killed a goat right after that.
No, well, that was a good part of the story,
spree.
too. No, the best part was that this is all from her own book.
That's right.
Not only her own book, but then she claimed that she was taken out of context,
That's right.
even though it was her book.
That's right.
And then one of the hosts, I think it was even on Fox or something, which is incredible, Fox News, said, not only is it in your book, your voice is the voice on the Audible.
Yeah.
So, and it's taken out of context. It's just... By the way, speaking of, what we haven't talked to you about briefly, because we talked to Chuck Todd and others about it yesterday, is the Nikki Haley flip-flop.
Wow.
Unqualified, he's a heathen,
Wow.
he's a whatever, and I'm voting for him kind of thing. And it leads me to think about the whole vice presidential deal.
Right.
Is it naive? Because I guess I am naive to think that even if you're in politics, doing a total 180 as she did, as the governor of New Hampshire did, as scores of Republicans did, who said that Trump was the Antichrist a few months ago, and all of a sudden he's the best candidate to lead the free world. What's your reaction when somebody does something like that?
You know what? I shouldn't be shocked, but I actually was shocked.
I was too, actually.
In this
it
instance.
seems so bad.
Well, it just seems like I thought that she was presenting a case. I believed her case as she presented it for herself. And I'm just surprised. I can almost understand if she said, listen, as she did, I think Biden's a catastrophe, so I don't know what I'm going to do here. I still hold by what I said about my concerns about Trump in a leadership position at the top, for running a country and the world, really, because if you're the president. But I don't know what to do about the fact that I also believe that Biden is a catastrophe. So that would have been a little softening, but to suggest, I was just talking all those weeks and months.
Well, she also says, I'm supporting him because he has the backs of our allies, which is totally untrue, and stands up to our enemies, Kim Jong-un and Putin, are his role model. I'm serious. I mean, it's preposterous.
And the basis of she sat right there doing the international negotiations. So come on, she's the person that would know. And that was on the campaign trail, part of her saying, I'm scared about his ability to push the button or whatever. So yeah, I am shocked by that. And I also think this is why people just don't trust. So we're talking about lack of trust in the news media. They also have lack of trust among politicians. I firmly believe, call me naive, that if people take a stand on their position and they're not, it's not hate speech and they're not mean, they just present their stuff constructively in the way they believe, people have more respect for them. Yeah. Even if they disagree with them, they have more respect for them by holding to your position and presenting it.
Except, I don't want to belabor this, but there was a story in the Washington Post that said today, I think, about Republican legislators, like that guy from Oklahoma who was the sponsor of the immigration bill that got crushed when Trump said don't pass it, even though it may be good because it's going to help Biden. Forget dealing with the immigration issue. And the point of the Washington Post story was, and the word they used was, when you stand up for principle in the Republican Party, what you get in return is humiliation.
Right.
Which is Langford, that guy. I couldn't think of his name.
Yeah, James
Senator
Langford.
Yeah, it's really tough. In any case, we know you're not going to tell us anything about the culture show because that's what you do. That's at 2 o'clock today here live.
Well, I can tell you, we are going to talk about Apple's 100, top 100 albums.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you believe the number? I love that album.
Yeah.
But still, were you shocked?
We're
not going to say what. I mean, the number one album.
Oh yeah. Well, not necessarily shocked. I'm. These lists always get a lot of discussion, so I'm not shocked necessarily.
I'm shocked. I love it, but I'm shocked. We're not going to tell you what it is. You got to listen to
Right.
What are you doing Sunday night on the radio?
We're doing an encore. We're looking at the hidden stories from New Hampshire's Black Heritage Trail, and then we're encoring a book that I just can't say enough about. It's extremely compelling, personal story by Grace Alexander Hale about her grandfather, uncovering the fact that her grandfather was a part of a mob lynching. And so the book is called A Lynching, a Lie, a Reckoning. And it's written like a novel. It happened. And just, all that she went through and figuring out what was happening with her grandfather, whom she revered. And so it's very interesting. So that's on as well.
Okay, Callie Crossley, thank you very much.
And one more time, congratulations on your years of Basic Black and all your colleagues.
Several people have
texted
saying that they're going to miss it very much.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Callie.
Thank you.